Yo, hey guys, it's SmallmouthCrush. Today's video is going to be real quick, real simple. I actually just got back from fishing down in Kentucky. I got a new plaque back behind the wall there. New red trophy from FLW, so it was a good time. I'm going to actually have a series of videos that talks about the FLW Costa Championship, which I just came back from, and some of my adventures down there. I hopped around to some smaller lakes in the area, actually a smaller lake and a well-known lake, Dale Hollow, a few days before our official practice. Kind of got a feel for how those fish were acting down in that part of the country, because I don't have any really experience down that way. So it was a good adventure. It was a fun time. We got the job done almost, and now I'm back home editing all the videos and getting things right. So we'll have a bunch of videos moving forward from that part of the country. But today's video, I want to talk about tube fishing, and a little different way of tube fishing, and it's actually a technique that I don't use a lot up north on the Great Lakes. I probably should, but I prefer. There's a lot of ways to fish a tube. Let's break it all down. That's all coming up. And there we go. The big old smallmouth of the South. He wanted that. The tube. But I'm fishing it kind of in a unique way. It's not a bad fish for down south, not like the giants we get up north. I'm actually in Kentucky, catching a few smallmouth today. So I basically left my house around 8 p.m. and drove all the way through the night. And around 6 o'clock a.m., I was right in the zone. But I wanted to go to Dale Hollow first, but that was another 2 hours. After being in the truck all night, I'm like, I gotta go fishing. So I looked on a map and I found this little reservoir not too far away from Lake Cumberland, where the tournament was out of, and I decided to put in there. I found a ramp. Took me a while, but we got in the water eventually that day, and it was like, whoa, this place is crazy. Everything was exposed. The water was super low, drawn down for winter. So there's a lot of structure. It was just it was very cool. It was one of the prettiest lakes I've ever fished. I mean, it almost tops, I hate to say this, Thousand Islands area. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was awesome. It was a perfect fall day. I just wish the fish would have cooperated a little bit better. Not knowing what to do, I ran a bunch of different things. I started out with a whopper plopper, topwater baits, did a little jerk baiting, Alabama rig. I started chucking that. I was just going down banks and not really, just trying to explore it. I got way back in a couple creeks, there's big, bluff, beautiful walls, and just could not really get anything going. I tried some finesse techniques. I caught a few small spotted bass, but I'm like, how am I going to make a video today? You know, it just isn't working out. So I did find a fish or two using the tube. So I get down, so I decided I want to use a tube, but for some reason, and this was just as prepared as I always am, I just messed up. I use a lot of tubes from Dan at Get Bit Baits out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's where I use a lot of my tubes for when I fish up, you know, in the Great Lakes and clear bodies of water. And I just did not bring my tubes with me. I have boxes. I don't know if you guys seen videos. I got plenty of tubes. I just didn't bring them. I had a handful. I had these Bass Pro Shops Tournament Series. I had some green pumpkins or in my boat, and I was using that on this lake. And actually, turns out I caught a few fish in practice on Cumberland with this on day one, and that'll be for another video, but I was doing something very similar. So I did accomplish what I wanted to accomplish by checking out this lake. Although the fishing was tough, it kind of clued me in on a few different techniques. And one of the techniques was fishing a tube, but I fished it a little bit differently on this body of water because it wasn't by accident. The reason why I had to fish it differently because it was really too hard to drag. I couldn't cast it out, and then what I like to do is just work that rod and drag that tube along the bottom, make it look like a crayfish is just hopping along. Every once in a while, bounces up, floats back, falls back down. That was the goal, but I kept breaking off, and so I saw a fish on the graph, and I dropped my tube down, and before the tube hit the bottom, the fish bit. So I knew they wanted to bite that tube as it was falling. And quickly, I had a 3/8 ounce head. This technique would be a 3/8 to a ½ ounce head, especially if you're in deeper water. But I have used this technique in shallower water, and it works fine. But all I'll do is I'll insert that tube head into that tube. It's an exposed hook. I'm throwing on a 7-foot spinning rod, 10-pound braid to whatever you feel comfortable with, 8, 10, 12-pound test line. I believe I had 10-pound for this particular application that I was throwing that tube on. But that's it. I would toss it out. I would see if that fish would bite it on the fall. If they didn't, I would rip that tube up off the bottom and let it fall back down on slack line, giving it quick little hops like that. Casey Smith. I'll be right back. Yo.
Whoa. Wow. All right, catches little spots too.
It was a good pattern. The problem was I didn't know the lake well enough. Knowing now after going on Cumberland for a bunch of days in practice, I would love another shot at this lake I was on for this video because it definitely has some potential. I just wasn't thinking right that day. I was trying to chase him around. It just wasn't happening. It was a tough deal. Definitely ripping a tube off of the bottom, letting it fall on slack, maybe 2-3 pumps sometimes. Other times, if it does fall and I feel it hit something, maybe it's some rock or something, I will twitch it a little bit. I'll kind of just feel the bottom, and that'll determine how I want to bring this tube back to the boat. Especially on those drops that you're fishing. It's great to be able to pop that bait. It's going to move forward, and it's going to drop another 4 or 5 feet from the first spot because it's a ledge. It's going straight down. Those fish just, they tear it up when it's the right deal. Like I said, I was new to the lake, didn't have enough areas to try, but we got one good one.
Spot. Oh, goodness. Fatty. A fatty. On the tuber. It's not your typical cast it out and drag, that's for sure. I'm actually casting out the targets and I'm giving it some quick hops. Letting it sit. Another quick hop, and then they'll normally grab it either on the fall or while it's just sitting there. I'm running across a lot of little fish. I've never fished this lake before, so I'm just learning it. Trying to put the puzzle together. Oh, and you'll catch your fair share of small guys too. So today I'm actually in Kentucky. This lake has spotted bass, largemouth, and smallmouth. I think I'm trying to target smallmouth really with that tube, but you could definitely get a bonus largemouth in there. It seems to me right now that all of my fish have been coming off of these boulders, these nice points leading back into some smaller creeks. That seems to be where the fish are. So I'm going to try to go around this lake. Like I said, I've never been here. I'm going to see if I can find a few more areas like that and see if we can put together a pattern with that tube. So not knowing anything about this lake, I caught these fish back up this creek arm, but right at the mouth. So I'm gonna run a few of these other little spots here and see if we have the right bank. Find out if there's some fish hiding there. Definitely a gorgeous fall day here. As you can see, they lowered the water. It's might be a winter pool. Maybe they. I'm not even sure. Yeah, this looks like a sick little spot here in the spring. That's for sure. Well, hey guys, tough day. Ooh, it was a tough one. It's that fall transition. Water temps are just below 70 right now. It's November, so you know, it's confusing. It's too nice, I guess. It's too nice. I wasn't around fish, like I said. I picked a creek arm, fished it. Maybe this place, maybe this part of the lake isn't that good, but I just couldn't mark any fish, and all we got was that one decent smallmouth. But that's how it is sometimes. I encourage you guys to give a tube a try this fall, actually year round. But I really thought we could get something going with it today. I promise you it does work. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Leave any likes and comments below. And as always, until next time, we'll see you guys on the water.